Flying the Kupp. Where am I?
Welcome back to Flying the Kupp. I am your host, Michael Bennett.
And I am your other host, Josh Kupperstein. If you want to look for us on Flying the Kupp, we are on YouTube and Spotify at Flying the Kupp. We are on Instagram, Facebook at Flying the Kupp. Make sure to like us, subscribe, comment, share, all that. Look in the search bar. You can look on flyingthekupp.com as well for all our news, updates, and videos. And if it's in your search bar, if it's that name you can't see, it's because it's spelled Kupp.
All right, and today we have our guest host, Mr. Alex Remmey. How you doing today, Alex?
I wanted to watch Flying the Kupp, not be on it.
Well, you are on it today, and today we are talking about childhood toys, the games we used to play, the action figures and video games. That is our discussion. Are you ready for it today?
As ready as I was going to be.
All right, perfect. Let's just jump right into it. Josh, what's number one? Number one action figure that you used to play with as a kid?
I will be fully honest right now. I never had many action figures as a kid. I lived vicariously through this man. But my go-to that I had, it was not much of an action figure, my foam WWE or WWF at the time championship belt. I wore that around. I was the champ of our township, of our area. I defended it. This is actually an actual replica of it. But in addition to that, WWE action figures are an absolute blast to play with, and you know something about that. I used to play with yours.
Yeah, I had a ton. I would bring them all over different people's houses. I would get the divas that I like, such as mainly Lita, Trish, and then I would go to get Booker T and Eddie Guerrero and all the great wrestlers that we loved growing up. Me personally, Kurt Angle, Josh loved my Rock figures. Mike, what kind of figures did you play with?
You know what, guys? I'm sorry. I'm not in the WWE camp when it comes to...
that's a wrap for us here on Flying the Kupp.
Those ring wrestling figures weren't my thing. I didn't have like the little square ring where you have the action figure going on the top rope, jumping, boom, elbow slam. That wasn't me.
But you build a lot of creativity.
Now, most of my stuff was Legos and Transformers. I'd like the either Transformers from car to action figure, back to car, Secret Ops or whatever.
Now, how easy was that to do? I mean, I'm sorry, I was not big into Transformers. Was that something that you could transform easily, or did that take time to take it apart and transform it from thing to thing?
Well, those robots in disguise would go back and forth, just swapping in and out there. But that was the fun part of it.
Did you ever see a movie, Josh? Jeez.
Do I watch movies? Answer's no. Unless you're Austin Powers, then I've always watched that. But, so Legos, did you have any specific type of set, or the general Legos and build from there? Like, did you ever have a Star Wars, and did they have that back then?
So, my Lego sets were hand-me-down Lego sets, and they weren't sets, really. They were just a box of Legos.
Did they have the right pieces?
No, absolutely not. They were every
Lego.
Like
this.
I built half of a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Not even. You got to use your imagination. Like you were talking about.
That's where the first Mantar came from.
The what?
The Mantar, the half man.
Minotaur.
Mantar. You know, there's a wrestler named Mantar. That's why I was thinking Mantar.
Well,
his name's on the show.
That creativity starts with.
Watch him out.
I was doing a ton of the Lego stuff. You're doing the Mantar with your action figures.
I'm not doing the Mantar. I'm saying Sorry, I said the wrong name. Jeez.
Well, what?
All right, moving on from action figures. Since we're going off a little bit off the rails here.
I don't see it called Flying the Alex. Jeez.
Flying the Kupp is going off the rails. That's why I wanted to watch the show, not be on it.
I need to take a lap.
All right, well. So, Alex, what other toys did you like?
We were going to talk a lot about throwback toys today. Things like Crazy Bones, Tech Decks. Now, I remember the old coveted Eggy. You used to flip the things and play for keeps.
Used to
and things like that. We used to
my parents to let us to go get those little bags, open it up.
And if you I was at Five Below like a couple months ago, and they still had bags of them. It was crazy.
They're still around?
I actually saw them.
They made a comeback at one point.
Yeah.
Maybe
I know people who had these special-made plastic chests that had each little holder for each little guy. I mean, that was a little bit intense, but I enjoyed Crazy Bones, the next guy. Zany Brainy, Learning Express, and now Five Below.
Yeah, I'm shocked that they're still around. But finding that Eggy was always great. Did you ever play the game where you have to line them up? And you flick it, if you hit the other one, you get to steal theirs.
Play for keeps, yeah.
Oh, I always just put the Eggy in my pocket so no one could block it.
I used to line up a bunch in front of the Eggy. Crazy Bones back? Were you a fan?
You got to defend. Like
Exactly.
it was a full blown strategy. It's like kid gambling at that point.
Oh, yeah.
Where you are playing for keeps. Like people are crying. They're going home. It is an intense schoolyard, battle royale.
Yeah.
At that point.
Did you ever get into any of the card games, Yu-Gi-Oh or Pokemon?
Card games are the best. They were my thing. Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon. I used to play in tournaments for Yu-Gi-Oh and all that stuff. The Pokemon cards, I never got into the game because the energy things confuse me because I'm a stupid 6-year-old at that point. I don't understand how the full game works, but I like collecting them, always looking for that coveted Charizard. Now Charizard's worth $12,000 today if it's in perfect condition.
People, they're paying a fortune for that.
It is quite a bit of money. It's funny how that our childhood is so monetized now today.
I think I mentioned in the previous episode, but you hear all the time that the '90s generation is one of the most financially successful generations as far as nostalgia is concerned. Things from the '90s, early 2000s are making comebacks now and go. I mean, we talked a little bit in this without going off track. Champion used to be a brand that was in the back aisle of Walmart. It was $5, whatever.
Sure.
I always liked it. I thought they made, in wrestling, so they made good shorts and good fitting stuff. For quality product, cheap price. Now it's like the it thing.
It's coveted, yeah.
I'm wearing pants now. I got my champion
Look at
shorts
this guy.
on.
He's in. He's got the it factor.
I am so
I mean,
hip.
people wear the matching sweats, the matching joggers, and all that stuff for Champion.
I mean,
now.
it's not
very
this
popular.
beautiful Redcon 1 zip up that you can get if you follow at Redcon1 Coop Redcon1 _ Coop on Instagram and Facebook. You can get yourself one of those.
Yeah, I guess if we're plugging ourselves.
Am I allowed to plug?
Yeah, you're allowed to plug. I'm at Agile Square. Follow me on Instagram. Alex, do they want
Where
you
can
to
I follow
them?
you?
I do not know my Instagram name, guys.
Alex Remmey.
I think it's just straight up Alex Remmey, actually, my Instagram name, because
He's got a world of charisma and a world of
This is true.
yeah. Look at him. He's got a whopping 0 posts.
If you don't want to follow him, then you could always follow Flying the Kupp at Flying the Kupp. Can't find that name. KUPP.
I got a
Check
couple
it out.
boomerangs with the margaritas and the beers. That's mainly my shtick.
He's quite the character.
But that's kind of the adult games that we're moving into. But let's pull back a little bit and get something that we do as an adult and as a kid. Video games.
Sure.
Huge. Really got introduced to them in the beginning. Alex, what's the biggest one that stands out when you were a kid?
Well, back in the day, Josh used to like to whoop on me in Madden. I got a little better over the years.
Me
and
used to.
then we actually had a foam belt that we actually played for in Madden and other games. And we had Madden competitions, NHL hits. MLB Slugfest were the big games growing up on the PlayStation 2 for myself.
Big sports fans over there. That's something you guys always had in common, whether you played outside or keeping it inside for the video games.
Yeah, I think I went 20-some years without losing in a game to him. Like pretty standard.
Yeah, as far as PlayStation 2 goes, that's what we did mostly.
Well, no, it started out with N64.
Well, we had our N64, the Mario Kart, Mario Party battles were classic.
I mean, they'll ruin friendships. There's actually,
We got introduced to NBA Live on the 64 before it got good. We used to play NBA Live 99, and we had these crazy three-point battles. And being me, the huge Iverson fan that I am, I would choose him even though he's not a three-point shooter. This guy would whoop on me with Ray Allen or Paul Pierce. But nonetheless...
Sorry, I didn't realize the rules that I couldn't pick somebody that I wanted to. Actually, funny story about the N64. I first got the N64 was the original, I want to say circa 1996, 1997.
The gray model, right?
The original gray model. Very excited about that. I got coerced into trading it in for the original Nintendo because I wanted a specific game that I saw when I went to the local video game store, and it was only available for the other system that I knew my cousins had. And somehow I got tricked into making the trade that I thought was a great deal at the time. Turned out to be terrible. As much as I love that system, and I still have the system, the N64 started to come out with some amazing games. And then eventually I got my hands on a new one. And the beautiful thing about those video game systems, mostly the original Nintendo, the Super Nintendo, and then the N64, is those things last.
Built to last.
You know,
Thanks.
that was circa 1996-ish. It's 2021. That thing works like a charm. Absolutely works like a charm. And I will say, I don't care if it's a myth or you're not going to break this theory. Blowing on a video game in the cartridge like that absolutely works. Absolutely. They may say that it doesn't really do anything. I'm telling you, it works.
They literally say on the box to not do that, but I love how everyone doesn't follow the rules.
Because they want you to buy a new game. I'm not into. I have a marketing degree.
I think the issue with that is people are blowing and like spitting on the cartridges, not actually blowing like cold air and cooling down their cartridge, and that's why they tell you not to do that. But who knows?
Whatever makes it work at the end of
certain.
the day. But you guys had quite a rivalry in some of these games. Alex, you were hinting at some of the sports games. Was it the NBA Live? Or?
NBA Live 99 that we're still playing today, all the way up until 2007.
He doesn't even know the right game. It's NBA Live 2004.
All I know is there is going to be an NBA Live match between you two in a little bit. I foresee that happening, whether it's on this channel or behind the curtains, whatever it may be. We need to put an end to this.
Look, this is not really a game. It's what they call a slaughter. He really even shouldn't bother showing up.
And those of you that follow the Flying the Kupp saw the slaughter that Mike Bennett did to my friend Josh Kupperstein in cornhole. That happens all the time. He has no cornhole skill whatsoever.
Right.
I did it behind closed curtains.
Where's my
He
agent?
did it on public.
I want him out of here. I'm not going to continue.
Well, before we start too many fights, let's talk about a game that really started fights. How about those Mario Party incidences? Because they're more incidences than anything. They're tests of friendship.
They are.
At that
Absolutely
point.
are. I mean, how many games are one of us winning until the 2 or 3 turns to go, and you get the little cloud and you steal someone's star?
Boo. It was Boo.
Boo.
The ghost.
Boo.
But talking about Mario Party, I mean, there was memes that came out years later, like the test of friendship. Steal my star and I'll punch you in the mouth. I mean, that's literally how it was. I mean, this kid gets brutally violent all the time.
I don't like to lose.
You know, he almost was going to beat Mike up if he could, which he can't after the Cornhole massacre. But, you know.
But friendships were truly tested in that game. And that's a game that even lasts till today. We can pick up a Mario Party game, and it doesn't have to be a brand new one. It could be the old N64 version, and it's still
that's the best one.
The beautiful thing is you have to go the original. I'm sorry. You make Mario Party 2, 3, 4, 8, 10. They're ridiculous. You add new. No, the original is
I never played 2 or 3. I heard they were okay, but now we're getting into like 12 on the Wii, OG. And it's just
Stick to the OG. The original Mario Kart, the original Mario Party.
Yeah, everyone knew the games.
The beautiful thing about them is they're quick, they're simple, they take 2 seconds to load, and you can play the same game, same characters, 50 times in a row, and you'll have 50 different games. The flow of the game's different. There's always some sort of event happening where, Shy Guy says, and you lift it the wrong time, or you're a split second off, or you move the joystick one direction too late or too early, or you end up in a 2-on-1 and lose 2 stars instead of or 10 stars when you think last time the other person only lost 2 stars.
And before PlayStation 2 and Xbox were made and they padded those joysticks, you'd be whining on it, trying
how many times did we end up with
you got blisters on
our hands from
I remember rubber band and paper towels in my hands to try to beat this guy, and that didn't do a damn thing. But.
Yeah, and it's something you can pick up today. Again, there's no loading time. And these N64 games, and even some of the PlayStations, they didn't have fantastic graphics, but they were fun. And with Mario Party, real quick on that, I would say we have got a lot of arguments, and then you'd be looking for revenge, which brings you into the NWO WCW Revenge. That game, No Mercy. No Mercy has been considered by wrestling fans and by me the all-time favorite video game of all time.
Without a doubt.
In 2000, I believe 2001, 2000.
Yeah, I mean, it had the Attitude Era wrestlers, so you had all the best ones back in the day. You had the great tag teams of Edge and Christian. You had the great tag teams of the Hardy Boys, the Dudley Boys, and so on and so
Stone
forth.
Cold,
as well as
Undertaker,
classics
Rock.
like Andre the Giant, and you had The Rock, and Taker, and Kurt Angle. You had
and the
people in
Josh
every
Kupperstein
kind of genre of wrestling and every kind of group. The factions, the tag teams, the single great competitors, and you had all the belts that aren't in WWE anymore. Like you had the Hardcore Championship, and you had a story mode for each belt that changed things.
And it wasn't great, but it was better than what had come before. And I'll say, 2021 graphics, it looks like you're there. They're very realistic. They're very they're somewhat fun, but to me they're not as anywhere near as fun because they're too realistic. You know, when we play a basketball game, I like to shoot, maybe do some deke moves and dunk and pass. Now it's like you got to press this trigger while holding the other and then flick the joystick forward. It's just too realistic.
Playing NBA Live 2004, this guy liked to shoot threes with centers, Ralph LaFrance. That doesn't happen in real life.
Works,
but
in
it
the
happened
game.
on NBA Live.
And it's fun, and it's a lot better than having to have it so realistic that things bounce out and rim out. And then you play baseball, it's really tough because they got incredible curve on their
But transferring into the Xbox and newer video games, what were some of your favorite games, Mike? So you shooters fan?
Yeah, guys, I'm going to have to disagree with you. You're the two nostalgia boys over here. I like more of the modern stuff, even really beginning at the Halo and Halo shooter types of games. Now, graphics stepped up at that point, and that was, you know, where things really got interesting for me.
For sure.
Because you have the online component, but even combining the online with the offline component, there was LAN parties we used to do. I think they used to even have like parties with it where they bring Xbox ins that.
Definitely. I went to a few parties like that where they, you know, brought all the new systems in and you learned all about them. I remember playing Halo when it first came out and you had the ghosts and you could just run people over. And I mean, the cool thing about Halo was it was so otherworldly, where the guns don't exist and these characters don't exist and these vehicles that you're driving don't exist, which made it very, very cool and a whole nother step up from the original shooters like James Bond and so forth.
Yeah, there's such a huge nostalgia factor, whether it's video games or if it's talking some of the action figures and physical toys that we used to play with. There's just so much out there that I look back on and I really just enjoy and really holds up today. Now, but if you're looking for more content that still holds up today, Josh, where can they find that?
They can find us on YouTube and Spotify. We're at Flying the Kupp. FlyingTheKupp.com for all our videos, news, updates, and eventual merch. And you can follow us on Instagram and Facebook. We are at Flying the Kupp. If you're in that search bar, if it's that name you can't see, it's because it's spelled Kupp. And personally, you can find me and follow me as my personal page on at redcon1_Kupp. Michael, where can they find you?
They can find me at Agile Square on Instagram or check out some YouTube because maybe eventually I'll have something. And then Alex Remmey, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Here today. Yeah, and if they want to see more of him, you find him, check him out. You know, check out those profiles on Facebook and Instagram. And
also don't forget to check out michaelbennettrealestate.com.
Oh, or just go to our last podcast and listen to a little bit more about that.
Cheap plug.
But if you want more, we got more. Thank you, Alex, for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
With a little bit of the nostalgia. If you want more nostalgia, join us next time as we are Flying the Kupp. Yeah, that was all right. Yeah. You can watch more videos now.
Yeah, we're gonna get out of here.
Yeah, all right. You just watch them.
Yeah.
And
don't you ever talk about me like that. Okay? I don't lose anything. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to say. I will have you out of here. Okay?
Josh, don't yell at our viewers.
My bad. Enjoy. Jerk.